Hey guys, what's up? I'm going to teach you how to solve any kinematic equation that you will ever come across in physics or math for that matter. This is a method that you can use to solve word problems, any word problem, and get it right 100% of the time. As long as you're following the method and using your brain and using what I taught you, you can get it right every single time. None of this math is so hard that any one of you can't do it to the level of 100% accuracy, and I will put my bank account on it. I promise you, kids do it every single year in my class, and so can you. So what is this magic method, you tell me, you ask me? It is the guess method. Guess, G-U-E-S-S. Guess, that's how you spell guess. It's the guess method. It's the guess method, okay? So any physics problem you come across, I want you to actually use this guess method. And the more you use it, the more it becomes actually second nature to you, right? You will start to think in these terms. You will start to imagine problems in the guess method. And it'll make it a lot easier, a lot quicker, and a lot more right each time, I promise you. So what is the guess method? Well, the guess method simply states that when I see a problem, a physics problem, a word problem, right? I'm going to see what is given to me. G-I-V-E-N. What is given to me? Does it give me the distance? Does it give me the time? Does it give me the speed? Does it give me the velocity? Does it give me work, power, energy, kinetic energy, potential energy? Whatever it is, what does the problem already give me, right? That is G. It's the first step in understanding the problem. What do I already have? What do I know about the situation? It's given to me, right? U, what is unknown? What is unknown in this problem? What do I need to know? What is unknown? What am I looking for? Is it asking me how long? Is it asking me how far? Is it asking me how fast? Is it asking me how much? What is the unknown here, right? The problem will probably always ask you for one unknown, at least in the very beginning of physics like this. And I'll teach you multiple unknowns later, right? You might have to make some inferences or bring in some outside knowledge. But on these problems, you have one unknown. What is the unknown? You have to figure that out because that's what you're going to solve, right? E, you might be able to guess. I'm going to be using some equation, some kinematic equation. E is my equations, right? What equation do I have to use, right? And once I know what is unknown, right? And I know what I know, I have a given amount of things, I can look and pick the proper equation for the job. And I'll teach you how to do that, right? So it's pretty self-explanatory what you have, what you don't have. But how do you know which equation to pick? Well, that's also pretty easy, and I'll show you that. So equations, and remember, you're never going to have to memorize equations. They're always going to be given to you on the test. On anything I give you, you're going to have a bank of equations, and you have to pick, you have to select the correct ones. Like, trust me, guys, like 95% of all this stuff is just knowing which equation to pick and applying it. That's it. So equation. And then what do I have to do? I have to substitute. Substitute. I substitute. What does substitute mean? I swap in something for another thing. Well, if I have a given and an unknown, I know the equation I'm using. I'm going to substitute all the things that I know into the equation to find out the thing I don't know. Yeah? I'll show you how to do that in a second. And the last part, the easiest part, the thing that you guys want to skip to at the very end before you actually get the work is the easiest part. It's just solving it. It's just plugging and playing. It's just arithmetic at that point, right? So S is solve. That's the last step. That's the victory lap. If you can get there, the work is done. This is the work. Guess method. Given, unknown, equation, substitute, and solve. How it work? I'm going to show you. All right, so We've been talking about kinematics. We've been talking about scalars, vectors, distance displacement, speed, and velocity. Here's an example of a question that uses speed. How do I know it's speed? Well, I wrote the question, but let's break it down, right? So let's read it first. You always want to read the question in its entirety first. Don't try to solve it as you're just working through it for the first time. Read it first. So it says, Sam is driving. Let's see, let me get my pen up. Sam is driving along the highway towards St. John. He travels 150 kilometers in 3 hours. What is his average speed for this trip? And the answer is 50 kilometers an hour. Why did I give you the answer? Because I want you to figure out that sometimes in physics, the answer doesn't really matter. I want you to show me how you get the answer. That, to me, is much more important than if you can write 50 kilometers an hour, because I don't know where you got that. Did you get it from Dillian? Did you get it from Tony? Did you get it from the internet? Or did you get it from the old brain case, right? That's the big picture right there. That's the big brain. I want you to show me, and you're going to do that with the guess method. Let's do it together. Remember, the guess method, G, U, E, S, S, given, equation, given, unknown, equation, substitute, and solve. So, our givens. I've read the problem. Sam is driving along the highway towards St. John, right? St. John is probably a town or something like that. He travels at 150 kilometers, and he does that in 3 hours. What is his average speed for the trip? So what does this problem give me? Well, let's go and let's see. Sam is driving, so okay, he's driving, right? This is going to be a kinematic equation. He travels 150 kilometers. Now, I am going to circle that. 150 kilometers, right? What is 150 kilometers? We talked about units of measure. He travels 150 kilometers. What is that? Well, if I go 1 kilometer away, right? If I go 10 kilometers away, what am I measuring? You should see that I'm measuring the distance. Kilometer, kilometer. That's a measure of how far I've gone. That is a distance. D. That is my variable for distance. It is D. Now, let's continue. I have a distance. He travels 150 kilometers, a distance, in 3 hours. HRS, 3 hours. Hours, what is that a measure of, right? 1 minute, 2 minutes, 30 minutes. What is that a measure of? 1 hour. What is it a measure of, right? It is a measure of time, right? Time. It's a measure of time. So this would be my T time. T time. What is his average speed for the trip? Okay. So does it give me any more givens? Do I have anything else? You should see that I do not. I have nothing else. It gives me distance and it gives me time. And the distance is 150 kilometers and the time is 3 hours. The time is equal to 3 hours. 3 hours. What is the average speed for this trip? Let's move. I don't know how to solve this right now. Let's move to U, unknown. I've got the G. Distance and time is my givens. What about my unknowns? What do I not know, right? What is it asking me for? Well, what else is in the trip? Sam is driving along the highway towards St. John. I know how far he travels. I know the time it takes. Now this says, what is his average speed? Average speed. I'm going to circle that. And this is key too. When it asks you the question, what question is it asking you? That is your unknown. What is his speed? His speed. That is unknown. I do not know his speed, right? So I am just going to follow that guess method. I've got my givens, distance and time. I've got my unknown, which is speed. I don't know the speed. Now I have to apply an equation. An equation. So this is where you reach back into your formula chart, into the prior lectures, into everything we've been doing in the project so far, and you pull out that knowledge. What equation do I use? What is the equation for speed, right? So a lot of you right now are like, oh man, I don't have no idea. Well, I already taught you. In the last class, in the last week, we learned that speed, right, is a ratio between distance and time. Speed is equal to distance divided by time. That is my first kinematic equation. A scalar speed is distance divided by time. How far I went, right? This is kilometers. How many kilometers per hour did I go? How many kilometers per hour? It's distance divided by time, right? So I've got my equation. I've got all my givens. I know what I need to know. Now I know how to solve what I need to know. Speed is equal to distance over time. Now I'm going to do the first S, and that's going to be substitute. I'm going to take this equation and just put this inside here. S. Do I know the speed? No, I don't. I'm looking for the speed. It is the unknown. So that variable is going to remain S, and I'm going to figure it out. Now, let me put the other variables in. Do I know D, the distance? Yes, I do. It's 150, so I'm going to put it right where it would go in my equation. Divide it by, so that's 150 kilometers, divided by the time. Do I know the time? I do know the time. The time is 3 hours. 3 hours. And you can see that all I'm doing here is putting in my givens in my equation. The distance was 150, the time was 3, I'm putting it there. S, speed, is equal to 150 kilometers over 3 hours. Kilometers per hour, 150 per 3. This right here is my substituted equation. Now, the part where you like to do, or skip all the way to, is the solving part. And it's easy. All you have to do now is solve this equation. S is equal to D over T. S is equal to 150 over 3. How do I solve this? This number is equal to this number divided by this number. So all I have to do is use algebra or arithmetic and perform the operation algebraically with your calculator, or just, simply here, it's 150 divided by 3. Now all I have to do is get out my calculator and do 150 divided by 3. Speed is equal to 150 kilometers divided by 3 hours. Now, what is my answer going to be? Divide 150 by 3. Guess what you're going to get? You're going to get 50, but you're not done there. 50 what? This is physics, y'all. 50 what? 50 apples, 50 oranges, 50 minutes on the internet, 50 bucks. Look at your units. It's already there for you. It's a ratio of distance to time. 50 kilometers per hour. 50 km per hour. That division sign per, that ratio per, miles per hour, kilometers per hour. I have figured out that my speed, right, is a function of distance and time. 50 kilometers an hour is how fast Sam was driving. And I figured it out. This is a very elementary problem. You could probably have seen that, I just divide those two numbers. Well, on this problem, yes. But on problems later on, when we start working with acceleration, when we start working with circular motion, when we start doing a lot more heavy things, it's not so easy, right? And you need to use this guess method, GUESS. This is the method. I want you to use this method to solve the problems on the quick check. Don't get one wrong. It's unlimited retry. Keep trying again. Remember, I need you to have a writing utensil and a piece of paper out there so you can solve these using the guess method. Do not bust out your calculator and try to divide two numbers or multiply two numbers, because that will not work. That will not cut the mustard for these harder problems. So here's example 1. I will provide more examples down below. Try that quick check. If you cannot get the quick check right, or at least at the 80% level or above, look at my further examples below. Use my guess method. Given, unknown, equation, substitute, and solve. And the only equation that we're using right now is the ones we've learned. My speed is equal to distance over time. And conversely, or in addition to, if I upgrade it to that vector version, the vector is just speed with direction, and that equals displacement, which is distance with direction, right, over time. It's the change in distance over time, right? So these two are pretty much the same thing, right? This one has direction, this one does not. These are the equations you're going to be working off of. It is in your equation bank, and you will have to use these to solve the quick check for this week. The algebra is no more complicated than multiplying things and dividing things. Everyone should be able to get these right. If you cannot, I need to see you in office hours. So good luck on this, have fun on this, and I will see you in our 30-minute Zoom session for any questions. Peace.